Alright, so here's the demo of my Golang scraper that I wanted to show off or demonstrate. So if I start it with go run main and we run it, it'll ask, do you want to scrape the URL, do you want to print out the scrape data, or do you want to exit? So if I hit do you want to scrape, it'll scrape it all. It'll say insert fault, but as I'll demonstrate in a minute here, it inserted it all fine. So now that we've scraped it, if I go over to my MySQL database here, I can select from article table, and you can see here it put it all into the table. Here's the title headline, and then over here you have the link. They're a little bit long, so I don't know, so the table doesn't exactly play nicely with how long the things are. It kind of wraps it weirdly, but it's all in there. And then you can see just before I ran it that it was an empty table. So if I pop back over here, sadly printing out the scrape data doesn't work at the moment, but that's basically what I have so far. So now you can exit, and then quick look through the code. Here's the struct that it stores it in before actually putting it into the database here. Here's the menu. Here's where it has all the credentials. Here's the website that I scraped, 9to5Mac. Here's where we connect to the database. Here's where we create the slice of all the things that of all the links and things we store in. Here's where we choose which one we want to, do we want to scrape? Do we want to print the articles, or do we want to close the program? And then quick look through the code here. We have this is where it prints out the scrape data, print articles. This doesn't work right now. I don't know why the slice isn't passing in properly. It seems to think it's empty, so even though it isn't, because it obviously put all the scrape data into the database, so I don't exactly know what's going on there. I'm sure there's a scope issue that I have to figure out. Here, I wanted to create a search for the database so that you could search words, but I haven't done that yet. I haven't quite figured out how to make that work with querying the database, and also not needing to type out the exact title, so I still have to get that working. Here's where we connect to the database, so we open it, we pass in the credentials, we tell it we're using MySQL instead of any of the other SQL languages out there. We check if it's open. If it's not, we log the error. Here we do kind of a double check to see if the database is pinging or not. One of these might be redundant, I'm not entirely sure. Here's where we insert, so you can see here's the query, insert into article table, ID, title, link, values. Yeah. Then here's where it actually creates the query, it passes in the query, and then those article IDs, and then we test for that insert fault. I don't know exactly why it triggers the insert fault, even though it actually works properly, so there's a bit of a bug there. Here's the scraper that I was actually, the main thing I was trying to learn here was, so we take in the URL and the selector, so we can, here's where the selector is used, and that's the actual element, the HTML element that we are targeting. And then target URL is the URL that we are scraping from. So I used a library called Collie. So here you can see I create a new instance of that Collie library, and then we here you can tell it where it's only allowed to be on 9to5Mac or 9to5. I have that commented out because it's not following any links, it's just scraping them. But if I wanted to follow links and continue to scrape those links, then I would, here's a way that you can keep it kind of on the site so you don't end up scraping the entire internet. But I just have that commented out for now. Here's where you tell it what to scrape. So on element selector, the selector is again the HTML tag or tag that you want to scrape, or you can give it a class as well, so that you can scrape that specific tag and class or ID and make it super specific, which is in this case what I'm using. So here you can see that I'm scraping hrefs and converting, and then I'm also taking the title from that href, and then we store it in here, but we also create an ID so that when I put it in the database, there's a unique ID for each of the rows. Yeah, the rows of the database. Here's where we actually tell it, hey, go scrape this URL. Then we check for any scraping errors, and then at the end of the scrape, I don't know if you can see here, it just gives us a little summary of everything that happened. And yeah, that's if we just go up to the top here, I'll show you. So here's the element that I'm scraping. I just have it right in here. I should probably move this out into a variable, but for now I'm targeting an A element, and then it's got the class of article underscore title link, and so I just target any A element that has the class article title link. And then yeah, that's my Golang scraper, and yeah.